Hey everyone, okay, so today I'm going to be showing you how to use a foundation brush, and it's a long time coming, this video. I think it should be so easy, right? But it's not, because I'm going to just talk you through it and show you how to really use a foundation brush. Now there are three types of foundation brushes. There is a paddle brush, which is just a flat foundation brush, and this is the standard brush. You then have a stippling brush, and then you have a hybrid, which is basically like this. They're much more firm, but they still have the stipple on them. So obviously these are mine. Now, you also have a sponge. The reason sponges work so well is because they absorb product. So when you're applying it to the face, even a dry sponge, it by its very nature absorbs product, which is why you're able to blend foundation in so beautifully. A foundation brush is not designed to absorb product. So generally a paddle brush is absolutely useless for blending foundation because it's so difficult to blend with this. It's really for applying product and then you go out and blend, generally speaking, with a sponge. So we're going to get rid of that because it's just shite. When it comes to other foundation brushes, whether it's stippling brushes or your hybrid, which are like mine, people tend to apply the foundation either directly to the brush or to their face, right? And it's too much. Remember that a sponge is designed to absorb. Foundation brushes are not designed to absorb. You need way less product in order to get the foundation to blend. So I'm going to show you one I'll use the little brush to begin with. So I'm just going to put some foundation kind of onto the foundation brush, and I have no idea if this is the right shade, but it doesn't matter. And what you do is you then start to blend, right? So this is a pump. Now, it's too much foundation. You see, there's loads of product on there, and because it's not designed to absorb, you're going to be here for a long time because the product is too thick and heavy because you're used to using a foundation brush. So you're going to get streaks. Even when you buff, you're going to get circular streaks because there's too much product on the brush. So let's just do our best for this side, just so it doesn't look a little bit too mental. There's just a lot of product. When you're dealing with foundation, I always think it's better to apply a little bit to the back of your hand and then really just dot like this, the tiniest amount. And then all you do is you go in with your brush and you're doing this motion to begin with. By applying in smaller layers, you're allowing the product to actually blend and to sit and absorb into the skin. And the thing is, you then become very used to how much product you actually need on your skin, because with the sponge it is going to absorb, so you're able to build up the coverage that you need. So we certainly need some here, but without using a huge amount of product. So if, generally speaking, if you need to use, say, 2 pumps of foundation for your entire face, it's highly likely that you'll end up be using just a pump or just slightly over, because it's not being absorbed, it's just being stippled into the skin. Now, if you look at this side of the face compared to that side has a lot of product on. It's a huge amount. This side doesn't have that same kind of product on, but everything that needs to be covered is covered. Product isn't being wasted, and the skin still looks like it belongs to the same person, that it's your skin, excuse me, but it's been corrected. And this principle applies the same with a concealer. If you want to use a foundation, a concealer, and use your foundation brush, you can absolutely do that. Now I'm also going to show you another way to use a foundation brush. So I'm going to use this side. We'll get rid of all this bloody filthy mess. And I'm going to show you another way to do it, because I I've shown this so much throughout my YouTube videos that it kind of makes sense to show you, especially with a brush. But this side is covered. The skin is pretty much, you know, covered, but it looks like skin. It's not really caked on. And there was still some product on the back of my hand, so we only used a really small amount, so you're not wasting product. Now, the other way to do foundation, and this I've shown many times, is to use concealer and contour first, and then to blend it out with foundation. So the way that I do this is I apply a heavy concealer, and then I start to blend it out first. So I'm applying this to the areas here that I would like to stand out. And it's much lighter than my skin tone, and there's good reason for that. And I did a really beautiful tutorial with Emma and doing the same sort of principle. So I'm going to put a little bit on the bridge of the nose, and again pre-blending it, and I'm going to add a little bit of light just above the brow. When it comes to contour, I'm going to sweep this. Do you know, I'm going to use a darker shade than that. I'm going to use this one. I'm going to sweep this here, and I'm going to curve it so that it's more of a rounded cheek as opposed to an angular one. And then I'm just going to contour with my finger. Okay, so we've all seen this, and you know, a lot of people like to leave it like this. I'm not one of those people. So this is how much foundation I'm going to use on the back of my hand. You can barely see it. I'm going to spread it first onto the back of my hand so that there's very little there. Then I'm going to take my brush, I'm going to dab it into it, and then I'm going to stipple over the areas that I just did, right? So I'm stippling over these areas. And you can build up as you go along with the foundation if you need more. And the reason that I'm doing this kind of patting motion as opposed to this is that if I do that, I'm going to wipe it off. And we want there to be the lightness along this inner corner, and then this darkness on this side, but we want it to be under the foundation. Now when it comes to this area here, I'm just going to kind of pat the nose bit in first, and don't forget the bit above the brow. But when it comes to the contour, don't go down the nose, go up. So you want to stipple up, not down, because you don't want to create darkness here, you want to create light. So you stipple up. So always remember up, not down. But generally speaking, there's nothing wrong with using a sponge, but you're not going to get the same results in terms of value for money with regards to product, because you will always use less with a brush. And you can see now that here's two sides. So this is the side where we just stippled with the foundation, and this is the side that now has more coverage, but we've got the light and the deeper areas, the contouring going on, but it's not Instagram ready. It's just more dimension to the skin. That is really how you use a foundation brush. And for those of you with regards to paddle brushes, generally speaking, same principles, but you need to use a lot less because these brushes go down. You're going to need to really make sure that you're using so little product as to not create these stripes. So just use tiny amounts of product, and it kind of blends as it goes. But this is the kind of brush that I would just sort of use to apply foundation if I'm going to use a sponge or concealer, and I would just kind of dot it on, then take a beauty blender and blend it out, and then go, oh look, there's a spot there, and then I can blend it out. So that's really why what these are for in my mind. But I mean, everybody's different. There's no right or wrong way. It's just, it's just makeup. It's not, it's not changing anything, is it, in the world? It's just a bit of makeup. But there you go, that's how to use a foundation brush. Now obviously I find my foundation brushes to be really good. This is actually the original brush, it's the small brush. And it's still the brush that I prefer. There is the bigger version, which comes with the set, or you can buy this singular. I prefer the smaller one. It doesn't take any, it's not, because it's small doesn't mean you're going to be here all day, but it's much able to get into smaller areas of the face, particularly if you're going to do that kind of contouring method that I just showed here, which really isn't for creating cheekbones. It's just to create dimension so that there's not so much flatness with the foundation, that it's more multi-dimensional. But there you go. That is how to use a foundation brush. I know, it's not what you expected. But I like to surprise people. It's been such a, honest to God, if I were to ask, sometimes someone goes, what would you like today, Wayne? I would go, do you know what I'd like? I'd like some peace. I'd like to spend it on my own. I'd like to not see anyone. That's what I'd like. I don't get what I like, and that bothers me, but that's what I'd like. I'd like a day on my own, by myself, not seeing anyone. I know. Do you want to see something really cool before I go? Look at that. It's my Beauty Blender jar. Amazing. See you next time. Bye-bye.